All right, and ladies and gentlemen, what really is the truth behind the death as far as Nikki is concerned? There are several such theories that are doing the rounds as far as Nikki is concerned and the circumstances that surround the death of this young lady from Greater Noida, Dadri to be more specific. What are the circumstances? Because if you look at the versions coming in from both the families, whether it is the version coming in from her husband and his family, or it is the version coming in from her own family members, there are a number of claims and counterclaims, ladies and gentlemen, that are coming to the fore. Multiple theories are doing the rounds. What really is the truth behind Nikki's death? Was it related to a dowry demand? Nikki and her sister running a salon business, Instagram reels made by the two sisters, or the alleged affair that Nikki's husband had with another woman. The mystery is only deepening with multiple questions remaining unanswered. On Blueprint Explosive Exclusive today, we will reveal some stunning new details which have come to the fore regarding this particular case. First up, let's take a look at the timeline as established by the CCTV footage. The claim being made by Vipin's family is that he was outside the house when the incident is said to have occurred as per the FIR. What has added to the twist is the hospital memo, which has been accessed by Times Now. Now, this is a memo which was given by the hospital to the police. Now, this states that the patient was badly burned due to a gas cylinder explosion in the house. However, when the police reached the spot, they did not find any evidence of a gas cylinder explosion. Now, the cops are trying to find out who informed the hospital about this incident. Was it due to a gas cylinder explosion? And are expected to record statements of doctors of the private hospital where Nikki was taken. Here's what Vipin's neighbor and also a relative says about the cylinder blast explosion claim and what really was said in front of the doctors, in front of the police. Listen in.
यहाँ से निक्की की सास, निक्की का ससुर और निक्की का मतलब निक्की का हस्बैंड का ताऊ को लड़का देवेंद्र जब इन्हें लेके गए हॉस्पिटल, तो वहाँ पे सबसे पहले डॉक्टर ने बयान लिए लड़की के, जो कि एक पर्चा पर उन्होंने हिंदी में और इंग्लिश में दोनों जगह लिखे थे। और निक्की ने वह बयान दिया था कि मैं सिलेंडर की वजह से जल गई हूँ। लोग अच्छा, तो उन्होंने पुलिस पर फोन कर दिया, पुलिस गई, फिर उन्होंने उस पर्चा का फोटो खींचा, डॉक्टर से कैमरे उनके पुलिस वाले कुछ वीडियो बना रहे हैं, उन्होंने वो रिकॉर्डिंग करी।
Let's take this across to Priyank. Priyank, multiple theories that are doing the rounds. There is, of course, the theory of whether this was a gas cylinder blast and why was there an attempt to mislead, because the police have clearly found that was not the case when they reached the home. Relatives, of course, saying that Nikki and the family members are the ones who put forth this particular theory. There is also CCTV footage that the boy's family says, the husband's family says, shows that he was outside of the house when all of this happened. Has the police analyzed it? And are they sending it for forensic analysis? What really are the police telling you as far as this aspect of the investigation?
See, Madhav, the most shocking thing is that the police officials are yet to officially take over the CCTV footage which is doing the rounds in the social media and which has also been accessed by the Times Network. What is also very alarming that so far there's no application which has been moved by the police officials before the court so that they can take the police remand of the accused so that the accused can be questioned in detail. What they claim that they have been so much of pressure that they are taking care of the law and order situation and they are unable to do the groundwork, which is certainly not digestible theory which is coming out from the Uttar Pradesh police. What we can certainly sense that both the sides, the victim as well as the accused side, have been giving their side of the story. But what is the real truth of what will give justice to Nikki is a very important thing. If you look at the first statement, the memo which has been accessed from the hospital, it clearly mentioned that Nikki, probably under the pressure from her in-laws, had stated that there was a cylinder blast. When the police officer reached to the location, they could not find any kind of evidence. Okay. Plus, on the same time, police will have to go through and match the CCTV DVR along with the exact timing so that they can ascertain that whether the accused was inside the house. Okay, that's yet to be established,
but what really was the theory behind that? We will look at that. Let's look at another aspect which is under the scanner, which is the alleged affair that Vipin had. There was a woman who registered an FIR in October 2024 accusing Vipin of assault and exploitation. According to sources, Vipin was then in a relationship with the complainant despite being married to Nikki. Now, this matter escalated when Nikki and her sister caught Vipin and this woman red-handed, quote-unquote, in an attempt to prove his innocence. Vipin then allegedly beat this woman, after which she filed an FIR against him. This is, of course, what's being stated as far as this allegation is concerned. Allegation, of course, being Nikki and the sister then found this individual. And then, of course, you have this particular chat which is now coming out in the public domain, where the spotlight is on Vipin's quote-unquote affair. Chats with a woman that have been accessed. Of course, there is this one word, a babu, and then, of course, a heart emoji that has been put in over there as far as this chat on a social media platform, which clearly, of course, goes to show there's some kind of closeness that exists between Vipin and this particular individual. Now, with these multiple theories doing the round, including one which links Instagram Reels to the tragedy,
सोशल मीडिया पे बहुत सारी चीजें चलती रहती हैं, कुछ सत्यता रहती है, कुछ चला दी जाती हैं, इस पे हम फोकस कम करते हैं। हम उन सभी बिंदुओं पे जांच करेंगे जो आ रही हैं सोशल मीडिया से भी, और जो तथ्य और साक्ष्य, जो साक्ष्य प्राप्त होंगे, जो फैक्चुअल तथ्य आएंगे, उन पे हम कार्रवाई करेंगे।
अच्छा, सोशल मीडिया पे लगातार आपकी बेटियां रील्स बनाती थी, वीडियो बनाती थी, क्या इसको लेकर भी कभी घर में उनके झगड़ा हुआ, आपत्ति की गई उनकी तरफ से?
नहीं, उसकी तरफ से कोई आपत्ति नहीं। पार्लर खुलवाया, इन लोगों ने रिवल कटवाया, उसका बढ़िया तरीके से उन्होंने ही तो कहा था, मैं थोड़ी गया था पार्लर में। जब ओपनिंग हुई थी वही लोग थे सारे घर के। जब ना दिख रही उन्हें कि भाई ये सोशल मीडिया पे आएगा, सोशल मीडिया से ये तुम्हारा पार्लर चलेगा, आज सोशल मीडिया का मुद्दा उठा रहे हैं इतने दिन बाद।
All right, let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is PK Jain, former IPS. We have Karuna Nandi, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, joining us. We also have Shoni Kapoor, men's rights activist, and Anil Murthy, founder of Save the Indian Family Foundation. Let me start first and foremost with the police officer on the panel. PK Jain, what are we to make of this? If this is indeed a dowry case, certainly extremely shocking, and that's what has caught the imagination of the entire nation, the kind of brutality involved. But there are multiple theories emerging as to what could have been the exact circumstances in which these unfortunate events occurred, and the side of the husband or the husband's family also putting out certain information, whether it's CCTV footages or Instagram Reels, etc., which counters what has been put out so far by the family members of the victim. PK Jain, your analysis of this.
Yeah, good evening, Madhav. Thank you very much for having me here on the show. See, the way I see it, it is a case of where a young woman is being brutalized, has been brutalized in the past. And now, after so many years, the family has complained of the dowry demands, and they meeting certain demands. Well, it's a fact of life. Today, we have to start the investigation from the complaint. The complaint has been filed by the family of the deceased, and they have alleged certain things. So all those things will be the starting point. Now, coming to this particular incident today, well, you have shown on your TV just now how this woman was being assaulted, and the mother of the boy probably, and the husband himself. These two persons were involved in the in this whatever physical assault was taking place. All these things probably will set the thing in motion. The other thing, saying that cylinder blast, as you said, has not taken place. So it is a case of, to my mind, prima facie, it's a case of murder, and it should be investigated as such.
Okay.
In any case,
Shoni
the CRPC very categorically...
Shoni Kapoor, there are a number of... sir, I'm just coming in between because I want to get in quick comments from everyone before we start this. Shoni Kapoor, why would they register this as a cylinder blast when there's no question of a cylinder blast taking place? B, whatever be the facts and circumstances, even if the husband was present or not, there is a history of domestic violence. There is a history of, problems that existed within this couple. She has gone back to her home and come back after panchayats, etc. There were several rounds of that we believe have happened. And it could be possible that the situation or the circumstances that the husband had created led to the wife even perhaps, who knows, even taking her own life. Shoni Kapoor.
So thank you for having me here. First of all, I'll say that the death is a human tragedy, regardless of whether it was a suicide or a murder. And as a society, we must reject any selective outrage. Every man or woman deserves dignity, empathy, justice. Every death deserves that. But I have a different point of view. See, in this case, wherever there is a whisper of a dowry allegation, the whole machinery thinks that every woman who dies, she dies because of dowry. But there is no such outrage when a husband is murdered, when there is a blue drum, when there is a Raghuvanshi murder case, when there is a Atul Subhash committing suicide. When a man dies by suicide due to false case or marital harassment, it is labeled as a family dispute. And it is not being done so right now. I am not saying that I am not empathetic that a life has been lost. A life definitely has been lost, and the justice must be done. Whether it was a murder or a suicide, it must be investigated. And if there is any criminal angle to it, if there is anybody who is guilty towards it, he or she must be punished.
So what's the injustice in this case according to you?
So I don't have full information about the case.
Okay.
What information I have is from the selective media outages. So
okay. Let me bring in Karuna Nandi. Is this selective media outrage as Shoni Kapoor is describing it, Karuna Nandi? And he is perhaps suggesting or alluding to the fact that perhaps we are all very quick to jump into the theory of a dowry death because that is the most believable one. Do you agree with him, Karuna Nandi?
If you look at the data, whether it's the government data with regard to crimes, the NCRP data, or whether you look at the NFHS data, it is very clear, which is that women who are married between 18 and 49, 29% of them face very serious domestic violence, right? And that very serious domestic violence, out of that, a tiny percentage is what goes to court. A tiny percentage. And usually, certainly the woman doesn't have the money for her own lawyer, and the public prosecution system is overburdened. So 33% of those result in convictions. Now, this means that they will, of course, say that, oh, these are false cases. Now, a tiny percentage of those dowry allegations will be false cases. So the men's, I think they call themselves men's rights associations. That is true, that a tiny percentage of this are false. The rest of them, the system has failed because they haven't gathered enough evidence and they haven't followed, been able to, the system has taken too long, the prosecution hasn't happened properly. Now, there are two things that we are so used to that they are no longer news, right? One is dowry deaths. Nobody cares. It's too boring. The news stopped reporting it because, oh God, is this really news? It's a dowry death again, right?
That's not fair, Karunanandi. We are reporting this case and this is the case that's caught our attention because of the fact that it's a dowry death, isn't it?
Let me contradict Karuna.
Let her complete. I've asked her a question. Let her come in, yeah.
The news, by definition, is something new. Fair enough? So therefore, when there is an issue that is going on and on and on, and that is so widespread that we see it in our homes, we see it in everywhere else, people don't really want to report it. Now, this case is very different from the usual case because there is all this video footage, right? There's all this video footage. There's a small child saying that my mother was burnt in this way. And it's particularly and horrifically violent. And this is why this has become a big thing. The thing is that the reality of our country is that this kind of, people are giving dowry. It's like ransom. It's like hafta.
Yeah.
Because it's hoping that your child will be kept safe. But the difficulty is that when you are giving this ransom and hafta...
Well, there are those questioning this that, continuing to give that kind of ransom or hafta while the abuse only continues at home for more. But Anil Murthy, I want you to come in on this. Notwithstanding all that Karuna has said, the fact is this. Here is a person who has allegedly been having, an affair outside of his marriage. There are now WhatsApp chats which show terms of endearment being used in these WhatsApp chats. Now, all of this is certainly something that could drive somebody over the edge. And that appears to be one of the theories, at least, that could have happened in the case of Nikki, in which case her husband is culpable.
I would put it this way. Last 20 years, we are working to save lives of men and also women. Because if we work with men, we can save both people's lives. And here is the elephant in the room, which a lot of people never discuss. The most prevalent form of domestic violence is bi-directional domestic violence, both doing domestic violence intermittently on each other. In this particular case, in 2024, when the so-called alleged affair, it seems to have happened, it is certain that the family of Nikki has trashed Vipin Bhatti, this man. So this is happening mutually, and let's not judge here, make it man versus woman. See, it's a practical situation we have. We are a conservative society. Here, everybody wants to save the marriage. For the sake of saving the marriage, often people beat each other up. And many times the man also gets beaten up. And here is the problem. See, the man may commit suicide. Sometimes the man may commit murder. Okay, not this kind of a murder, but he may accidentally kill the woman. Because we have counseled men. You know, the man says, they have forcibly put the woman in my house. I cannot tolerate her. Then he's like, please get out of the house, you know, because domestic
Well, very tragic turn of events. I'm sorry, Anil Murthy, I have to cut you short because we're out of time on this debate. There's some breaking news that we have to put out on the other side. But PKJ and Karuna Nandi, Shoni Kapoor, Anil Murthy, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Certainly, it's a shocking incident that has, sent out shockwaves throughout the nation. And we'll look at what the police will be doing. We'll be tracking the story very closely in terms of this investigation as well. Thanks so much for joining us. Slipping into a quick break.